It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
No fear, no fear, no fear here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock. We're busy right up until the time the music starts. Hey, the music start, man, let's rock and roll and whatnot. And Sierra and I just, we butts and elbows, you know what I mean? This is what we're going to be doing today. The second part of the show, hour 2, we have Bernard von NotHaus. He's going to go ahead and come on. We're going to talk about the Liberty Dollar and where that's all at and where all our metal and money went, because I'd like to know. The government came and took it. Well, we've been covering this a little bit. I've given my opinion on it. I remember when the Liberty Dollar first started, they started promoting at the Freedom Summit. They get a table. There were vendors there. And what got them in trouble is exactly what I told them back then was going to get them in trouble. They wanted to try to get it into circulation by distributing it as change. When silver was $3-4 an ounce, they had 10 on it, and they said dollars, and it had 10. So you would give it to someone as $10 in change without full explanation. You just do it. And I'm going, no, I just don't. Because no, the homie don't play that. So I understood what was going to happen, and anybody wanted to challenge, and they got an offer from the U.S. Department of Justice saying, look, if you'll stop doing this, okay, we'll give you a pass up to now, just stop doing it. No. Okay. So we'll talk about it. I haven't talked to Bernard before on this subject about this. I know he'll want to, promote what he's doing, and what he was doing is perfectly fine, and he's not as bad or as scummy as the Federal Reserve and all this kind of, I get it. But he was begging for this, and we knew this. I was of the mind that he wanted to get a challenge into court. Well, if you're stipulating that you're guilty of whatever they're going to be able to charge you with, and you're already lost before you even got started. So we'll talk about it and see how this plays out. But the concept of trading silver certainly is, I'm with you, brother. Man, let's do it. What happened is that, of course, they make the argument that, well, while we gave it $10 change as a value in change when you're owed your $11.38 in change, and I gave you one $10 round that said 10 on it at the time, then later it said 20. And I go ahead, and now it's got to say 50 or 100 or something. So I give you that in change, and then along with some other U.S. coins, you go down to the bank and try and deposit that. What's going to happen? Well, that's what happened, and that's what they got them on. Now, the argument they would make, this is worth 3 times that now. We're in try. I did them a favor. They came out ahead. So what? It was a fraud at the time. I'll be as nice as I can on this. Try and make it clear that, hey, man, whatever. But we're going to have that discussion. You already know where I'm sitting on that. We're trying to get hold of Michele Naar-Obed. She is a Christian activist. They're talking about, what was going on in Easter and so on in Iraq. Now, from a perspective of this before the U.S. invasion went over, there was, nobody cared. I'm sure they weren't invited to, all the parties or something, but you were allowed to do whatever you wanted. They had Christian churches there and such. The problem is that they always want to divide you up into different groups and then pit you against each other, and then the government offers to referee. What's happened, though, is that now we have an entire generation of young people that are under 30, under 25. Heck, a third of the population in the Middle East is already in their 20s. So you have an entire generation that's communicating directly with each other, peer-to-peer. And you have it in Kurdistan, where they're trying to pit them against even their own political entities, that they're trying to say, hey, man, we're separate from Iraq. And all of a sudden you got 13, 14-year-olds that are directly communicating with each other, and they don't care about all these separations that government try and put on people. This is what we're finding out is happening around the world. All of the separations that are trying to be done are not holding up. Because when you have young minds that have not been, manufactured into the bigotry that they would rather you have, and all the bias and all that, they're just, all they know is, hey, man, this guy likes the same music that I do, and we share files on Facebook. The big bad boys don't like that. They don't want that. It doesn't serve their purpose. So what we're going to do is we're going to delve into that a little bit in this hour. We have Michele Naar-Obed. She's going to help me out with the pronunciation there, make sure I get that right. Escalating Iraq protests. Okay, playing with fire. The U.S., she's written several articles. I wanted to make sure we get out her website, cpt.org. Cat, potato, tomato.org. Michele, I got you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Michele, go ahead and tell us about...
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are you able to hear me?
Okay. Yep, fine.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Michele. Explain to us what it is that your organization does in Iraq.
Well, I can explain to you a little bit about what's happening up in northern Iraq, in the Kurdish region. I'm not in southern Iraq or central Iraq, which has a whole kind of different set of operations going on.
And where are you calling from right now? Where are you
Iraq,
at?
I'm in Suleimaniya, in the Kurdish region, the Kurdish Regional Government, otherwise known as the KRG.
Now, before we go into that, I was just, while we were waiting to get contact with you, I kind of, put the idea out there that we have a very young demographic. We have a lot of young people that are communicating directly with each other as the internet. I find that it's only about 2 to 4% of the people are on the internet in Iraq, certainly in, average over the country, which I thought to be very low compared with the rest of the Middle East. And I guess they just don't have the infrastructure, but they're still communicating with each other to the point that they're getting tens of thousands of people into the streets. And I'm wondering, is it true that you have people in Kurdistan, the youth are communicating with the Arabic culture in Baghdad, and they're kind of bypassing all of these separations that governments are doing? And if that's so, how is it manifesting itself in the street?
Well, it's not that there's a big coordinated effort between the Arabs of central and southern Iraq and the Kurds of northern Iraq. What happened up here happened primarily amongst the Kurds up here. And even in that, their coordination has been a little difficult. But here, what happened is that since 1991, after the setting up of the no-fly and the establishment of the semi-autonomous Kurdish regional government, primarily two figures came out of that as the new leaders in 1991, and that was Jalal Talabani and Moqtada Barzani. And they formed two political parties.
Okay, now Michele, they're going to hit the button on us going into the first break. I apologize we got hold of you late, but when we come back, we're going to start right there where you left off. We're going to start. They had two parties. They did a coalition. We're coming in. I'm glad we finally got you on the phone. I appreciate you coming to us from northern Iraq. We have Michele Naar-Obed, and we'll be right back here on Declare Your Independence and find out everything that's going on right now. We'll be right back.